Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. I'm Justin Barrientos. Thank you for joining us. We're brought to you today by Russell and Associates, and we're here as always with head coach Tom Sawyer. Thanks for being here again this week.
Yeah.
It was homecoming this week, and a lot of great events led up to the football game. But before we get into it, your first initial thoughts on what happened in the 52-49 loss to Northern State.
Well, we're kind of our own worst enemy right now. I think that's been kind of a theme the last couple of weeks that, we kind of control the outcome, and we did this time as well. Whether it's, offense, defense, special teams, we're all part of it. But we also showed the resilience that we do have and that we can come back at any time, and we did that and had chances to win the football games. We were just down too far too fast, but there was never a waiver of whether we could or couldn't. We just didn't get it done at the very end, but really proud of our guys, the way they fought back. It was a really emotional game, emotional week, and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, our guys played their tails off. They played hard, never quit, none of that stuff. So, all those are really good things. But we need about 2 more big plays on somewhere within the football game to get us over the edge and not be close, but to actually come out on top.
You said that you never really wavered in knowing that you can come back in this one. It was a 14-point deficit before you got your first score. What was kind of going through your mind and the team's mind down 14 early on in that game?
We just needed the ball. We needed to get the ball back. And obviously when we scored our second touchdown when Jake Blue took that 97-yarder back, but we have that capability at all 3 parts. Our defense, we block a kick and we could scoop and score that one. I mean, there's a lot of things like that it can come from anywhere, and our guys know that this could explode at any time in a really positive way. So we knew that it was coming somewhere, and I think when Jake hit that return, it was good. We scored right before the half, came back out, defense went 3 and out, we scored again. I mean, here we go. That's exactly what you want, and I think that really, again, got the confidence going, and kids at that point, again, started to believe that this is really going to happen.
In your mind, what was the difference between the first half and the second half? Because the passing game and the running game really weren't there in the first half, but they were in the second half, which allowed you to come back and nearly make the comeback.
I think getting our hands on the quarterback. We had some sacks. We had, we shut down their drives. They went 3 and out 3 times in a row to start the second half. So that was key. And as we talked last week about the defense, bringing the juice and doing all that, they did. Our defense really played well. Now they made some plays and they hit some long balls and some touchdown passes, but their quarterback Troutman got hit a bunch. Yeah. And in the second half, we got to him. And so the way that our team is finishing, everything that we're doing going into the game, our training and everything else is paying off. We just need to start faster on both sides of the football.
All right, you mentioned Hunter Troutman, a graduate student at Northern. You hit him a lot. He passed for over 400 yards in the game. What did you see from him? What was he able to do against the defense that made him so successful?
Well, I think that, his biggest thing is that he was throwing some strikes. I mean, he threw a couple of teardrop balls where we had guys covered him, that kind of stuff, and they made some plays. We had some errors as well, and he's good enough to find it. When we cut some guys loose, whether it's under coverage on a 3rd and medium, and the kid runs for 70 yards, and all of a sudden they're in the end zone. So I thought we did a nice job shutting down the run. We knew they weren't going to do that anyway, but he has that ability, and so does every other quarterback in this league. We've seen this every single week, and yeah, that's what we expect. It's a lot of transfer quarterbacks in the league, and they all have athletes that can run. And once we got that figured out and the timing of it all, then I think we got a lot better in the second half.
All right, I got to ask you about the penalties, because there were a lot of penalties in the game, both on your side and Northern State side. I mean, it was just, there were flags all over the field. Your thoughts on that side of the game?
Yeah, I'm going to retire, so I'll just say that they can't fire me for it, but it was really over officiated, to be honest with you. That's the conversation I had, and I know these guys really well. They're good officials, but it was too much. It was really tight in a big college. This is college football. It's physical. It's fast. If it's at the point of attack, we're holding or a guy throws somebody on the ground, I get it. But there was some really lightly contested times where they didn't call it, or a push off and those kind of things. If they would just, the Big Ten officials always say if 100,000 people at Camp Randall can't see it, don't call it. And I just thought that it was a little bit where they were too much, and I think they were just excited about the game too. They knew it was a big game, and they were really doing their job, and at the same time as a chance they just need to sometimes let some of that go.
Okay. We'll leave it at that then.
I don't know if I'm going to get fined or not, but that's
well, yeah, right. All right, let's talk offensively. Who do you think were some of the big players for your squad? I mean, obviously Owen Burke was able to find the receivers. But tell me, in your mind, who were some of the big performers?
Yeah, I think that one is Ethan Wittenberg, and he had a big game. He had a couple, miraculous catches. He's that guy. He can do that. He's been doing it all year for us. We just can't afford to have a penalty when he's done scoring a touchdown.
Yes.
So it's that kind of Jekyll and Hyde with him that we got to get corrected. But he had a fantastic day. Jake Blue had another great game, and another kid that really played well. You didn't notice it was Dominic London. Now he had a really big a run for a touchdown that he went through about 5 or 6 guys to get there. But he had to block against. They blitzed every single down the whole game, and he was pass blocking. It's only his 4th game that he's played in college football, and he was blocking on that 280-pound defensive end the whole game, and he did a great job. And so I think behind the scenes, he was probably the workhorse on the offense.
I saw too. You were trying to get Javian Roebuck in mainly blocking situations
Yep.
for him. Tell us a little bit about his road back and what you were trying to do with him this week.
Yeah, he had a pretty nasty ankle sprain, and he had 1 rep on Friday, and that's all he's practiced in a couple weeks. But we knew that in emergency, and Dom was getting a little wore out towards the end, and we knew we had to throw it every down at that point. So, and he was ready to go. As soon as we gave him the nod, he went in. I think it was really good for him to get back on the field, and we expect him to be full strength this week.
Okay. Defense. Who were your top players in defense this week?
Well, Corey played really well, had a big sack in the game. I think Carter Duxbury is the guy that we all need to be. He's playing his tail off, never says a word, he just plays, and played pretty well. I think that, in the secondary, Cam Gavin really played well. He had, I don't know how many tackles, like 18 tackles or something like that. It was an incredible day. And yet, there's still some things that we're missing a little bit, but we need to have him on the field the best we can. He got hurt a little bit in the game, so we'll see how he is this week, but he's definitely the catalyst in the back half.
One of the things that we were talking about during the game was that Cam Gavin and Devon Moore, in the second half, really trying to fire up the defense, trying to get some stops, and even on the sidelines too. You'd love to see that kind of leadership and getting on the guys. What was your reaction to what they were trying to do to urge the defense on?
Yeah, it's just who they are. It's natural leaders. We have a lot of them, but those 2 guys in particular, one's a captain, and Cam's voted on as the best player in the league, right? Mm-hmm. Well, bigger than that is how they handle each other, and that's something that we've been struggling at a little bit, where kids are getting too emotional. And those guys are really just trying to take charge and just say, hey, let's calm down and just go make plays, because it's a game. We got to play it like a game, and our guys have been pretty stressed about those kind of things because they're trying so hard that sometimes that creates mistakes instead of big plays.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show, and when we come back, we'll get the player perspective. We'll start out with Corey King right after this.
Meet Jenny Siseski of Edina Realty. With nearly 30 years' experience, she knows that right now is the best time to sell your home. Jenny will help you get top dollar, higher than ever before. With today's low interest rates, it's time to upgrade your home and increase its value. High demand and low inventory also make this a perfect time to list your home. Call for a free market analysis. Contact Jenny Siseski at Edina Realty today, 507-458-7038.
Catch the Tom Sawyer Show on HBC TV 25. Brought to you by Russell & Associates. WSU head football coach Tom Sawyer will join me, Justin Barrientos, for an inside look at the Warrior football program and this year's season. Watch the Tom Sawyer Show Wednesday through Saturday at noon and Wednesday through Saturday at 6:30 p.m. and right before every Warrior home game on HBC TV 25. Brought to you by Russell & Associates. And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. Time now to talk to the players, and we'll talk defense with Corey King. Thanks for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, we've had you back on the show back in 2018, and I kind of look back on it. You're listed as a sophomore,
yes,
but you've been here since 2016.
Correct.
What is it about this program? What is it about football and the game that keeps you here to keep going with your eligibility?
First of all, I love the game. I'm addicted to it. I'm addicted to the highs and the lows of football. in general. Winona State was one of the schools that gave me an opportunity to further my education, and I'm a homebody. Once I establish something as home, I work in town, volunteer in town. I like to say I'm an honorary Winonan. So it's hard for me to move on. You know, there's obviously different adversity, different things that's happened in my life that's kept me here for a long time. But once I'm committed to something, I want to see it through.
You say you love football, and some people can say that, but I think you can back that up. When you were in high school, fullback, defensive end, inside linebacker, outside linebacker, nose tackle. How did you play all those different positions, and what was it like to have to learn all those different positions?
It's a challenge, but it's dedication, film study, coaches believing in you and your athletic ability to be able to play in multiple positions. It's just a part of the game. Whatever my team needs me to play is what I'm going to go do. You saw it this week. I've been playing defensive end for most of the year so far. A guy went down at our outside linebacker position. I moved off outside linebacker to back up Carter Duxbury. So whatever my team needs me to be, I'm going to make that happen for them.
You know, going back to Wayzata High School, just briefly, Ian Murray was up there, a former Winona State linebacker, so that was a part of a connection. And, of course, the strong family dedication you have with the game. But tell what it was like to have a guy like Ian as part of your coaching staff up there in Wayzata.
A very important piece. Obviously, when you have connections to the next level and having somebody who's played college football and be able to, hey, you know, this is where you're at. If you want to reach this level, this is where you got to, you know, continue to elevate your game. Is an important thing. You know, obviously, the most exposure that you can have for these high school students and high school athletes, the better. So having somebody that, you know, played for you and then being able to show me what the culture was like prior to me even stepping my first foot on campus is a huge advantage for me.
You know, speaking of culture, you've kind of changed the culture over there at Westfield Golf Course by working at Wayland's for a few years because you're kind of a celebrity over there. Why don't you share about how Winona has embraced you as well as you embracing Winona from the Wayland's perspective?
It's been phenomenal. I absolutely love working there and meeting new people and having, you know, just my regulars come in and say hello, how are you, keeping up with my football, keeping up with me in school. It feels home, a home away from home. I'm from the cities, so whenever I'm here, I know that I have people I can trust on and lean on if I need something to take care of me. I always said that Jim and Virginia are my mom and pops of Winona, along with yourself. So it's always nice to have people to support you on and off the field. And obviously we need to, you know, make a little money when we can. So that always helps as well.
Absolutely.
All right, so as we said, you're listed as a sophomore. So how much eligibility do you have left, and are you going to use it because you're an honorary Winona?
I believe I have 3 years left. I have a year and a half left of school, so I'm going to take another year. We got to see what my body's saying. I've had a couple serious injuries. I've torn an Achilles, we got to see what my body's talking about. And then, you know, I have other aspirations to, you know, take care of once football is done. I know that this isn't a game that you can play forever. It's a child's game, but I love and enjoy it and hope to be a part of it for the rest of my life. But the player perspective doesn't last forever. Mm-hmm. So hopefully at some point I'll hang them up and move on. But I'm going to enjoy the time that I have now and be a college kid. And, you know, playing ball on Saturdays with my friends is no better opportunity.
All right, I got one more thing that I want to ask you. Earlier this season, you got your first full quarterback sack against Minnesota Moorhead. Picked up another sack this weekend. But what was it like? Because before that, you had gotten half sacks before. But what was it like to get your first full quarterback sack?
About time. About time. It's obviously I've been here since 2016, and that's the thing that you dream about. You know, that's my one and only, not my one and only goal, but definitely high up on my priority list is to finish sacks and finish plays, and those are huge momentum, you know, swingers. Typically coming on, you know, third down and third and longs when you have an opportunity to go rush the quarterback, being able to stifle a momentum of the game and swinging to your whole team and being able to celebrate with your friends and your buddies. Obviously with today, with the half sack that I had against Northern, came with one of my best friends on the team. So being able to share that moment with him is something we're going to cherish for the rest of our lives. So to have that full sack against Moorhead was a relief for me, definitely a relief.
All right.
Yeah, and the last one I have is, going into Saturday, we feel like we've had all this pressure cooking because our expectations are through the roof, like they should be, and we all wanted that. What do the Warriors have to do defensively to just really cut it loose this weekend?
Do our jobs. Do our jobs. Don't play outside of ourselves. Don't extend over yourselves. We know that we can play ball and play ball at a high level against some of the best teams in the country, and especially within the conference. This year we've seen some phenomenal quarterbacks and some phenomenal wide receivers, and each game we've proven, and after drive after drive, that we can play with anybody. So we just got to get back to the basics, do the fundamentals, do the little things right, and be 1-0 on each play. If I have an offensive lineman that's run blocking or pass blocking, I got to find a way to win that rep, get the ball on the ground and get the ball back to our offense so they can go score points. That's the biggest thing for us, and hopefully can continue to generate more turnovers. More opportunities that we can have our offense on the field is an important part of the game, and so definitely something that we're going to be looking forward to doing this next week coming up.
Awesome.
All right, Corey, thank you for joining us here today, and good luck the rest of the year.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, and we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk with Jake Blue right after this.
Meet Jenny Siseski of Edina Realty. With nearly 30 years' experience, she knows that right now is the best time to sell your home. Jenny will help you get top dollar, higher than ever before. With today's low interest rates, it's time to upgrade your home and increase its value. High demand and low inventory also make this a perfect time to list your home. Call for a free market analysis. Contact Jenny Siseski at Edina Realty today, 507-458-7038.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show here on HBC TV 25. We're going to talk with Jake Blue. And Jake, every week we've been saying, well, we keep talking about Jake and all the plays that he's been making. It's kind of like a broken record, so it's good to have you back on the show. Plus, we had the halftime package on you this past weekend. But I'll ask you the same question that I asked Corey. 2015 was your redshirt season. Yep. What keeps you here? What is it about either the university or football that keeps you here at Winona State?
I mean, we could talk for hours about this, honestly. A big thing is football, like Corey said. There's just something about it that the opportunity to keep playing is something that, you take advantage of. I mean, it's been a bumpy road, obviously, with, redshirting, medical redshirt in the COVID year. Yeah. But just being the opportunity to continue my education is a big aspect of it while still being able to play football is something that I feel like that I had to take advantage of, that I don't want to look back, later years in life and be like, why didn't I take that extra 6 months or a couple months to play football? There's no better area around here, honestly. Just the people around here, there's not much better than that also. So just everything's kind of, couldn't ask for much better, and that was the biggest thing of why I kind of came back to stay.
You're one of 12 of 15 guys that came back, for your last year after the COVID, and now you're out on the field. We're halfway through the year. What is the expectations now of you and your buddies that made this choice to come back? We're kind of all in it together deal. What's that really mean to you, Jake?
I mean, it truly means the world that we had that many guys to come back. I think it speaks volumes to you and the program here and the culture with everything just involved in the years that we've all been together. And I think the biggest thing for all of us is just take it 1 week at a time. Like you said, we have only so many opportunities left. So take advantage of every practice, every play, every lift. Just that time together is something that we'll truly cherish. As talking with homecoming this past weekend, and your big event, obviously we had a bunch of alumni come back and buddies that I've played with and everything like that. And then the biggest thing they say is just, just take out every moment, because you never know when it's going to be your last, and it's going to end at some point being here, and just take advantage of everything. And like I said, just truly enjoy that moment, because you're going to miss it at some point.
It's kind of like when the ball goes up on a kickoff and you're going to pick the ball up at the 3-yard line. Start up from there and walk us through that return.
Yeah, the biggest thing is following Daryl, is my main man, my best bud. So following him, leading the way, and all the other 10 guys in that field on that unit, just we know we can spark things and really truly change the momentum of the game, as you guys saw on Saturday. and just following Daryl, and everything kind of parted like the Red Sea. After that first wave around the 15, 20-yard line, and Daryl came with a big block, and then it was just hindsight the end zone. Just run like the wind and don't look back and hope for the best. And obviously ended up in the end zone, which was awesome. We got the crowd got the alumni got the corner mile on the sideline, which was awesome, exciting, and just pick things up from there.
Absolutely.
All right, well, I have to ask you, it's kind of a rare opportunity to talk to somebody that does the punt returning, and obviously one of the best in Winona State history, passing Kevin Curtin on that list. But can you walk us through what you're seeing, what you're thinking, and what happens when you're doing a punt return?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, there's really not a lot of thinking. It's kind of a lot of reacting, to be honest with you. The biggest thing is just keeping your head on a swivel. You got to look at the ball, you got to look at them, you got to look at the ball, you got to look at them. And the next thing is just, coaches emphasize this for years now, the ball's the program. So the biggest thing is to catch the ball and then just make the first man miss. And then kind of after that, I kind of just trying to make everybody else right. Looking at leverage, looking at where everyone else is running. And I kind of have an idea of what other guys are on that unit just from watching film and stuff like that. Whether they're bigger offensive linemen, linebackers, tight end types, or they're speedsters like defensive backs. So kind of get an idea of how they're going to run or what way they might go depending on the punt. If it's directional or if they're kind of just about wide, put it on the ground. So a big thing is just catching the ball and making the first guy miss and just find those little gaps and wease my way through that and kind of just see what happens from there and hopefully sparking a big play.
All right.
Going back, you got Owen back there and with the seniors and that kind of stuff. But, the connection that you guys have had the last few years and with that offense, just like I asked Corey, what else do we have to do offensively? Because we've been really explosive at times, not so much early part of the game. What do you think we have to do to get that connection with Owen and the rest of the receivers with you guys even better than it has been?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing is just keep being consistent. I think, like you said before, we have a bunch of, especially young guys that have been making big plays lately in all aspects of the offense, whether it's running backs or wide receivers and even tight ends are making huge plays. I think the biggest thing is just sticking to our guts, being crisp routes, making those big catches, Owen making those tight throws, and those big plays we're going to keep coming. But also we got to make those little plays of just kind of, those 17-play drives, or that's a long drive, but 14-play drives.
I'll take it.
But those just kind of that gritty, just consistent, keeping that defense off the field and playing our game, I think is the biggest aspect. Every week, every drive, and not going 3 and out as minimal as possible. Obviously, controlling the turnover margin is a huge aspect of the game, but I think overall the biggest aspect is just doing what we do, because there's, in my opinion, no one better than that. Me proving that week in and week out, but just doing that every play and having that 1-0 mindset every play and everyone doing their 1/11th, and it's awesome to watch, awesome to be a part of.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, thank you, Jake, and good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to take a break here on the Tom Sawyer Show. When we come back, we'll talk about the battle for the Sledge. That's this week.
Meet Jenny Soseski of Edina Realty. With nearly 30 years' experience, she knows that right now is the best time to sell your home. Jenny will help you get top dollar, higher than ever before. With today's low interest rates, it's time to upgrade your home and increase its value. High demand and low inventory also make this a perfect time to list your home. Call for a free market analysis. Contact Jenny Soseski at Edina Realty today, 507-458-7038.
And welcome back to the Tom Sawyer Show. We're brought to you by Russell and Associates, and back with head coach Tom Sawyer. We've been talking about the salute to Sawyer. We've been hyping that up all season long, and now it's behind you. But what was that like to have all the players come back, to have the honor for you in your 25 years? What was this weekend like?
Yeah, it was overwhelming. It was. You think about, not just the 25 years, but it's really kind of the end of all my years, including the 12 years I had over at Cochran Fountain City High School. So it was a chance for me to say thank you to all of our former players. And it was kind of fun at the very end after the game and standing in the parking lot, that all of a sudden 4 guys walked up, and it was my captains from my '96 team. They were there all weekend. I couldn't get to see everybody because we had over 350 people at the event, but It was really fun. It was overwhelming. It was just really cool to, be able to celebrate all of those years with players. That's why we're in the business. We're in the kid business. And just like these two guys here, I cherish all the years that I've had with those guys.
All right, very good. Southwest is this week, and one of the kind of fun things that kind of developed during your years is this battle for the Sledge, and we talked about the story before. But what's it like to have this kind of game to play not only for a win and not only for like a division championship or go to the playoffs, but to have something, an award type thing?
Yeah, it's fun. It's just something else to play for. You got a trophy out there, we want it. That kind of thing. And it started with a sledgehammer that was set down gently over at Marshall one day, and they took offense to it. And here we are now. I think we're in the 5th or 6th year of this, but it's been in Winona for a little while, and we expect to keep it here. But it just gives our kids something else to think about and have fun with, and they want to defend it, and they don't want nobody coming over to our sideline taking that thing when it's done. And it's a conference sponsored battle, which is also just makes it a little bit more important, and it's fun. That's what we want to do. It's a game. Let's go play it.
Yeah, and it's great to see the reactions afterwards when you win it, because everybody wants their picture taken with it. You bring it in here, which is always appreciated. So it's just a cool thing. Yeah,
and they do a great job. Biggs Athletic up in the cities, they sponsored as well. So the MVP, the offensive and defensive MVP of the game, they get a smaller version of this giant sledgehammer that we have. So it's a really kind of a cool award. And our guys take it serious. And believe me, Saturday, there's nobody going to defend that thing better than we will. And we're expected to win the football game.
All right. What do you know about Southwest coming into this weekend?
They're much improved defensively, and they're really they're physical up front, kind of downhill type of a team. It's very similar. The pictures will be similar to what we've seen the last couple of weeks. I don't know if they'll blitz as much as we saw last week, but they're improved. They got a lot of different players. They had 72 new players on their roster from last year, and 30 of them were transfers. So it's a completely different team from what we saw before. They've struggled a little more offensively to put some points up on the board. So I think both of those are a good matchup for us. One is for our defense to come out and just really have fun flying around like we have in the past, and our offense to start from the time we hit the switch and get it going. Our guys are looking forward to that kind of a day.
All right, injury update again. Let's talk a little bit. Do you get anybody back? Did you lose anybody from this past week?
No, we haven't lost anybody from the week. I think we're going to have Javian Roebuck available more this week. And at home, it's nice because we can go a little deeper into our roster to get some other kids some opportunities. So I believe that he'll be back. He did play in the game a little bit, but not much. And the rest are all back. Now they're beat up. That was a physical football game last week, but that's college football. I told a couple kids in the weight room this morning is that someday you're going to really wish you had the pain of a few days after a game, because that's something you don't ever get back and you miss it.
Was there anything from this past week that you're going to focus on in practice to work on this week?
Yeah, fundamentals and the mental aspect of the game. We need to really be a lot more calm and cool and collected, kind of an old saying, but we need to not overreact and not have real highs and real lows. We just need to get out and play, have fun, be a bunch of little kids in the street, and go play with your greatest friends you'll have the rest of your life. If we take that approach, I think it's going to be just awesome.
All right, and the luncheon coming up this week?
Yeah, Thursday again we'll have our luncheon over at Riverport Inn at noon. We'll have a couple guests over there doing it very similar to what we do here at HBC, but again, it's just an opportunity for our guys to get in front of a group and show some highlights and have some fun there as well.
All right, well, thanks for the insight this week, and good luck this week against Southwest.
Thank you.
All right, and thank you for watching here on HBC TV 25. We'll see you next time here on HBC.